Hey guys, welcome back to Geared Forwards. My name's Paul and today we'll be taking a look at this guy. This is the Leatherman Skeletool, specifically the CX subvariant. So let's get straight on to it and go through first of all the tools and then we'll give you a size comparison. So for a Leatherman, this is quite low on features. I would say this is I would say a small multi-tool on like the multi-tool spectrum. Not keychain size like a style or anything like that, but if a wave is, a full size or a medium size, and then something like a surge is, you know, even more so, or a super tool or something like that, this is definitely on the smaller side, both in terms of features and general specs. So this primarily revolves around the pliers and the knife. As you can see, we have a nice big sharpening choil here, a nice tip with a nice amount of belly. The blade is 154 cm, and the CX variant basically means that this is a straight edge. The normal Skeletool does have a combo edge. I am not a fan of combo blades personally. So straight edge works great for me. I have used this extensively over the years and it has always been great. One thing I would say is this is a liner lock. This does lock in place, so if you are watching from the UK or somewhere similar, you will need a just reason to carry this. And you do get a nice little kind of like finger indentation here. One of the things that first struck me when I got this in my hands, I first got this, I want to say in like 2014, is just how ergonomic it was compared to other multi-tools. Like opening it, closing it, and using it, it felt shockingly like an actual pocket knife rather than a multi-tool, which is something that I really liked and greatly value. The tip in particular has come in handy over the years for getting into and breaking some zip ties. On the other side, we have a little bit of bit storage. So this uses the Leatherman flat bits, and it can store one bit in this side part as well as one in the driver. Over here we have a little bit of a carabiner, and judging by, let's see, this little thing here, you can see that this is also a bottle opener. This works surprisingly well as a bottle opener. It's very comfortable and fast. I know you can open a bottle with pretty much anything, but an actual tool tends to just be a little faster and easier and just more user friendly. Unfurling it, we have our pliers. Now, as far as pliers in a multi-tool go, these are kind of small and a little stubby. I know these are not stub nose pliers, these are still relatively needle nose, but compared to some others in the Leatherman range in particular, these are quite small. You do have fixed cutters, so that is something to bear in mind. With wear and tear, you won't be able to replace them. And you can see some indentations here. We'll get into this shortly. And then we have the driver. So I typically use the driver like this, just because it gives a little bit more reach in a handle. And it's a similar style one that you're going to see on things like the Wave. So this one though does have a little bit of a release. So just push that down and you can see this opens up and you can take the bit out. By standard, this comes with 2 bits, and they're basically just double-ended, different size Phillips and flathead. I like to keep the Phillips in just because it's a bit more useful. The widest flathead is wide enough that you can also use it for some scraping and very light prying tasks if you need to, just to increase the value of the tool. And because this is just standard Leatherman flat bits, this is compatible with the bit kit to get some extra bits for it. And you can use things like the ratcheting driver, if you want to just make it a little bit more capable, and the predecessor to this, the extension. So you can supplement this with some other things, which is very nice. And we do have a pocket clip. So built in, we have 2 different methods of attachment. Throw this onto a bag strap, onto a belt loop. I typically carried it just clipped. It goes relatively deep into the pocket, not all the way as you can see, but it's very carryable. So the next thing to talk about really before we get into the size comparison is all of these funky holes. That is skeletonization and is where the Skeletool name comes from. And this is essentially largely aimed at partially an aesthetic, let's be real, but it also does significantly bring the weight down. So we would normally have this in the blade anyway as an opening, but we have a few additional holes here. We have a little carbon fiber plate here, which I like aesthetically, but does, it runs all the way here, does bring the weight down a little bit than just using steel all around this. And then these skeletonizing holes kind of just permeate all over the place, and even as we saw before, into the pliers. Does it save a whole lot of weight compared to if it wasn't there? Probably not, but at the same time, this is a very light tool for what you get. So let's go ahead and see how big it is. We'll start off with our normal size comparisons. So on top we have a 91mm and an 84mm Swiss Army knife. Swap that out for a 58mm Classic. And a comparison that will probably be more meaningful for some people that are weighing this up as a Leatherman option. Here it is next to a rebar and a wave. So as you can see, like lengthwise, the carabiner just really does make it kind of punch in its weight there, but thickness wise, it is definitely with the wave thinner. With the rebar, it's a little closer, but some of that is just this clip, which obviously is not uniform, and if you're using it, will be outside your pocket anyway. Let's give a comparison of the pliers. So versus the wave, you can see that they are definitely stubby, both in length and just in how the tip is shaped. And even more snub nose and shorter than the rebar. And again, these are more like light duty pliers than you would even like medium sized multi-tools like these. These are lighter use than that. That is something to bear in mind. This is about having something with you at the time and having it be light and convenient to carry. If you push a multi-tool too far, not only could you damage it, you could damage yourself or the thing you're working on. So please try and be conscious of what you're using and try and use the appropriate tools. So let's do a comparison. We'll just compare the straight edge blades just because obviously that is what we have here. Now, noticeably, we do have quite a nice sharpening choil on the Skeletool, which is just completely absent from the wave and also the rebar. In terms of length, it is shorter, really, than both of the others. There you go. But out of all of them, I do prefer the blade shape. It does give you a nice little bit of belly with a solid tip. And the sharpening choil does make maintenance a lot easier. But again, I do see this as a very different category of multi-tool compared to the other two. I carried this in an IT role and then later a warehouse role regularly. Did the job very well. But again, it's limited. You just have a knife, pliers, and a driver. If you need other things, like there's certainly no scissors here, you've got no file or anything like that, this is something that might be better suited to somebody that has a full set of tools nearby, or just simply just doesn't really need tools that often but would rather have something at hand, especially with both the bit and bit storage, although it's bear in mind that you do get some fixed screwdrivers in these other tools as well. Now, I would personally recommend this tool wholeheartedly if you're considering it. It's worked out very well for me. It's very ergonomic. The tools are very sturdy. Again, you just need to be careful for how much you push it, especially the pliers, since you can't really replace the cutters or anything like that. Like all Leathermans, it's not the most ergonomic thing to use as a driver, but it works well enough and it gives you a good amount of reach. So would I recommend the Skeletool? Yes, definitely. I would not say it should be your only multi-tool. If you're going to pick just one multi-tool to have, you should probably have something a little bit more capable. But if you're a bit of a collector or you just want to round out your functionality a little bit, I would say that this is a great lightweight option that would probably serve quite a lot of people in more of an office role as well, very well, provided that you're allowed to carry it. But what do you think of the Skeletool? Let me know in the comments down below if you have one. Do you prefer the straight blade, the combo blade? Do you not see the point of it? Did you have a bad experience with it? Let me know in the comments section down below. If you've made it this far in the video, then please consider liking and subscribing. It really does help the channel. And if we're talking about helping the channel, then please consider Patreon, which is also down in the description down below. Any little helps, and it helps me put new content, new tools out in front of you guys, as well as upgrade the video and audio quality so it's a little bit nicer to experience these videos. But that's it. I've been Paul, and I hope you, yeah, you, have a nice day.